Good morning everyone, welcome to the final day of the Rio Qualification event. My name is Ross Solly. With me is Grant Nell in commentary, and this is the women's 3 metre Grant, and this is going to be a hotly contested event. Welcome to And it's obviously going to be a hot competition here. We know that Madison's been diving really well. Esther had a pretty disappointing heat preliminary. A lot of good young kids diving here as well, Grant, aren't there? The future of diving.
Yeah, without a doubt. We've got Olivia on the board at the moment and doing front 2.5 pike. Great dive. You know, good to see that there's such a lot of up and coming talent in Australian diving.
Mate, how are you feeling after yesterday? It's some mixed emotions yesterday, I would imagine.
Yeah, definitely. It was a very emotional day yesterday, but I must say it was a lot of fun. There was a very big crowd here, and I really enjoyed the experience with all the family and friends and supporters around here. So great to be national champion. But yeah, it was a great fight. Both Kevin and James did it amazingly as well. Yeah, definitely tick the boxes I need to, and now it's just up to the selectors to see if they want to, well, I guess to see what their decision is. So we'll find out during the week next week and take it from there. So, yeah.
There and very hard to leave her off the team, but in the end she's got to get the results here, and that's what's going to be the challenge for her.
Yeah, definitely. It's part of the selection criteria. You've got to be, I guess, consistent here in all 3 events.
Now, we haven't mentioned Georgia. This is Georgia on the springboard now. Of course, she's a Commonwealth Games diver as well. Yep. Was Australia's youngest competitor in Glasgow, and we'll be interested to see how she goes in this event.
Yeah, definitely. She's a few years younger than some of the girls, but you know, that doesn't mean she's not up there with them. Very, very talented young athlete, very consistent and hard worker. So it's great to see she's up there and doing well. She's doing an inward 2.5 pike for her first dive. Yeah, really great dive there. Slight knee bend as she came out, but overall it was fantastic.
Good start from Jaya there.
Not too bad, yeah, it was pretty good. Very high off the end of the board, really good board work. Bit of a big tuck in the fact that she wasn't squeezed really tight. Overall, a good dive.
Down, down. Go! Down. Go! More which way? Okay. Okay, good? So here's Annabelle Smith, who you've done a lot of diving with, Grant, over the years.
Yeah, both originally started at Ringwood here in this in this new pool, in the old pool. Wow, a great inward 2.5 pike. She'd be very happy with that. Her and Ming, her coach at VIS, they'll be very happy with that first dive.
Good, reasonable scores. Now here's another Victorian who's been diving okay here. Grant, tell me a little bit about Bridget.
Bridget has been injured for the last sort of 2 years, sort of coming back from a few different injuries that happened on platform, but I mean, from her result in the semi-final, you can see she's obviously up here, but messing it with the big, the other great divers. Great start on an Emma 2.5 just there, and it's really good to see, once again that we've got another young up-and-coming diver. She's busy finishing year 12 at the moment, so she's got a lot of commitments outside of diving, but obviously still managing to put in some good training because, as we can see, she had a great first dive.
Right, now what are we going to see from Esther today? This is going to be, it was incredible to watch her in the, I've not seen her dive that inconsistently, and normally you know that she's going to come good, but she didn't come good in the preliminaries, but came good in the semis.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately she didn't have the best the prelims, but she did step it up in semis, and she's looking very confident on the board today. She had a fantastic warm-up, and I'm sure it's going to be a great day for her. Yeah, great Emma 2.5 pike to start. I know she's worried about that dive every once in a while because she's clipped her toes on the end of the board a few times, but 67 points for her first dive. She'd be very happy. Saw a Chava in the background jumping up with joy, so guys at N-Swiss will be happy with that.
Now, Madison, of course, has been the consistent diver this weekend, and certainly for a little while. She's sort of gone. 12 months ago, granted, it was a very congested pack, the 3-metre pack, and Maddie's sort of gone ahead of the rest a little bit, hasn't she?
Without a doubt, her results at the World Series this year show that as well. She's been very consistent, so strong on the end of the board. Does some of the dives that even guys struggle with, and she does them amazingly well. So it's great to see that she's doing so well and diving great. The training up in Queensland with Hui Tong, and he's doing great things over there, so it's good to see.
So we haven't got a rundown of the standings after the first round, but Maddie and Esther and Annabelle all pretty close together, I think, after that first round, so no surprises there. Really hope Rachel can go well. She had a couple of interesting rounds on Friday, so let's see how she goes today. But she's also a good young diver, Rachel Ford, the future of the...
I guess at the end of the day, when you haven't been to too many of these competitions, sometimes confidence can come into play. But experience is what counts, and at the end of the day, she's competing with the girls. And over the next few years that'll progress, and she'll obviously become a much better and great diver. She's got a lot of potential.
So just if you're watching at home and wondering, it's not as simple as just the first two to finish. It's a lot of other things that are taken into account today, and the scores from the preliminary round and the semi-finals are all taken into account. And then on top of all of that, of course, there are extenuating circumstances, and if you haven't heard the news, Brittany Broben, for example, has asked to be considered for extenuating circumstances after dislocating her shoulder yesterday in the in the finals of the platform. So that adds a bit of mystery to it all, and of course there are all sorts of other factors. One bit, Grunt. I think your job's tough enough to get on the boards, but I reckon the toughest job right now is to decide on that final team.
Yeah, without a doubt, the selectors have definitely got a bit of work to do. But at the end of the day, they've made, they always make the right choices for Australia, and that's what it comes down to. So it's yes, it's going to be interesting, and but at the end of the day. Guys like Grant have been working for 4 years for this event, and it's a lot of hard yakka, and I've seen the sacrifices that guys like Grant are making. So you want to give yourself every possible opportunity, obviously, to get to an Olympics, and and sometimes that might mean a lot of these young divers like Ruby, they've got a bit of international experience now. I know they've been across to some junior events and that overseas, which has been fantastic for them. And thank you to the Australian Commonwealth Games Association, who have sponsored a lot of junior activity. Future Commonwealth Games athletes are getting a chance, just because it is a big experience to go overseas and compete internationally, isn't it? Yeah, without a doubt. No, it's great that the Commonwealth Games Committee and obviously Diving Australia have helped support these younger athletes. Quite a few of the juniors just came back from a competition in Amsterdam and Dresden, and Australia topped the leaderboard on that. We came back with some great results, some great medals. And at the end of the day, it's, again, it's international experience, and the kids really enjoyed their trip. I was speaking with Matt Carter and Brody, who went on this trip, and they absolutely loved it. They really enjoyed to actually do what they've been training for. Sometimes you get caught up in the training and you don't get to...
No, another nice dive there from Georgia. She'll be happy with the start she's made. 2 good, solid dives. Jaya Matthews now, who's looking to build on... It was an okay start for her. She needs a...
Yeah, that was a great full out from Jaya. Forward 2.5 somersaults with 1. Points at the moment, which is great. Annabelle now is doing her reverse 2.5 pike, 64 points after the first dive. She's looking really good, looking really strong on the board.
Let's see how she goes. She's certainly one of the more experienced campaign. Oh, she just overcooked that a little bit, unfortunately, for Annabelle. She won't be happy with that one.
No, she won't be happy with that, but at the end of the day, she was still very high in the off the board. Did pull her shoulders a bit too far back on the entry, so she would be a bit disappointed with that, but the fight's not over.
No, there's a lot of dives still to come, but just one dive, can't you, Grant? I mean, that's what was so great about your final yesterday. You managed to nail pretty all your dives in the final, and because if you just get one wrong, it can just throw you right off, can't it?
Yeah, definitely. That's the unfortunate part about the sport, is obviously being judged by other people and not executing a dive very well. That obviously leads to less score, and sometimes that can mean whether you win or don't. So I was very fortunate yesterday to have a pretty consistent list. Definitely had a bit of degree of difficulty on my side as well, having some big dives. So no, it was great to see.
Now, Esther Chen, what has she got for us now today? Oh no, that's not good at all.
Dive. Her knees buckled on her takeoff, and unfortunately Esther has failed her front 3.5 pike.
So what does that mean, Grant?
Unfortunately, that's a 0 score for that second round dive. Unfortunately, that's what happens in sport sometimes. But, as I said just before with Annabelle's dive, the fight's not over.
Wow, that's going to make it really hard for Esther, though. Oh, wow. Maddie Keeney, that is a great dive.
Just show, as I said before, how strong she is. She's finishing that reverse 2.5 pike well above the board.
It's going to make it really, really hard for her. It's Georgia Sheehan who's sitting up there behind Maddie. Maddie Keeney up in front. Well, it has been an incredible weekend for what we've seen unfold here, and this is just continuing now in front of us.
Yeah, without a doubt. It's been a very, very long week for us all, but at the end of the day, this is why we do it. We're here because we love the sport of diving. We love showing off to everyone what we can do, and good things happen, bad things happen. We got some great sponsors here as well that are just doing some great things for us. I know Funkita Funkita and Funky Trunks brought out some goodie bags for us all, and that was great. It's so far it's been a phenomenal weekend. The organisation committee's been great, and it's been a really successful event.
And people might say, oh, it's so nerve-wracking and it's so sudden death, which it is in many ways, but it has been worse in the past when it has been first two over the line. But what the argument is that this is the sort of pressure you're going to feel at an Olympics. There's no extenuating circumstances if you miss a dive or something at the Olympics that you can plead to the committee to still get a medal. It doesn't happen. So you've got to give people the experience of diving in these pressure situations.
That was a great save there by Olivia. She was right on the corner of the board, hanging. Scores, but she still put the dive down. So it shows that, you know, the younger kids are really trying here and trying to step it up with the older girls. It's a bit different here than it was at the Gold Coast. Yeah, not as hot. Well, I guess it is.
16 couldn't get any bigger. Are we all invited, mate? Where do we all come for the wedding?
It's going to be in Melbourne, so no, looking forward to that. Got all the plans underway at the moment, pretty much all sorted. Going to do some suit shopping this week for my group.
It'd be nice that you're getting married, but I thought you might have got married in the hills of Adelaide or something, because Adelaide, of course, is your home now. Are you enjoying it there?
Yeah, absolutely love it. It's really been a fantastic opportunity to train over there, and I'm very lucky and fortunate to have the support of the South Australian Institute of Sport and the coach Michelle LaRue. We're very lucky to have him in Australia, and with his depth of knowledge and just enthusiasm for diving, it's been so great to be there.
All right, here is our current second place holder on the leaderboard, Georgia Sheehan. Now, if she can finish off quite strongly, I mean, well, who knows? The selectors have got so much to think about right now at this very moment. Let's see how Georgia goes. What's she doing here, Grant?
Front 3.5 pike, great takeoff on the end of the board. Unfortunately, just came out a bit too early, so landed a bit short. And unfortunately, the judges didn't like that, so 4s on that, which is unfortunately not really what she needs, but.
Different. I mean, is it the pressure, Grant, that's getting near to everyone, do you think? I mean, I don't think I've been to an Australian diving event where I've seen so many, not so much failed dives, but mistimed dives.
Pressure gets to people in different ways. You know, some people can handle things well under pressure, some people can't. I mean, I guess. When you're tired, you train when you're hungry, when you're in great shape. You know, so you try and train for these things, but it's on the day.
Right, let's see if Annabelle can bounce back now. She would have felt gutted after her last dive, but then she saw Esther make a big mistake and get a no dive, so Annabelle's still in the mix. She just needs to. That's a lot better.
Yeah, that was a great back 2.5 by Annabelle. Moving a little bit to the left hand. Wow, the judges really like that. A couple 7s and a few 6.5s. 61 points for a third dive. Annabelle will be very happy with that.
I'm very much looking forward to, Grant, and we'll talk about it a little more later on. I'm looking forward to the women's 3-metre synchro. There's going to be a great contest between Esther and Samantha Mills and Maddie and Annabelle. It's going to be a fantastic event that later on, isn't it?
Yeah, without a doubt. And if you're in the area, I'd definitely suggest coming down to Aquanation here in Ringwood. It's the last day of competition down here at the selection trials for the Rio Olympics. And yeah, we've got a big day of events coming up, even the men's 10 metre with Dominic Bedgood, and we've got a couple of young divers, Matt Barnard and Ross Todd, who are definitely in the mix for that one. So it's going to be a great day here in Ringwood.
Right, Esther. I'm sure everybody in this whole Aquanation is really, really willing her on here to come back and to fight back, Grant, because she is such a lovely person, and everyone wants to see her do well, and we know what she's capable of. So let's see what she can do with this dive.
Esther doing a beautiful back 2.5 pike. Left it a little bit short on the entry, but the judges will still give her great points for that. That was a phenomenal dive. Pretty much 7. Look, she's still a bit back from the end of the start of the field, but that was a great comeback. Good to see that she can sort of move on and just focus on the next dive.
All right, let's see what Madison does now. There'll be a lot of pressure off Madison Keeney's shoulders right now, so she can relax. And what's she doing here, Grant?
Maddie's doing an inward 2.5 pike. She's, as you'll see now, she's a very strong diver. Got so much height on that and just puts it away beautifully. She is just, the amount that she's improved this year is just phenomenal. It's really good to see.
A couple of 8s there for Maddie. I mean, the thing with Maddie has always been, and it's been well publicised, that, you know, she has had some nerve issues. She's had some cases where she's at big events, she's just, you know, balked on a dive and things like that, which has always cost her dearly. But the incredible thing is that some of those events, she's balked and lost 2 points, but still managed to win medals, and that's underlines just how fantastic she is as a diver, and the sort of, as Grant said, the sort of dive she does that no one else can do. And I think we're all waiting, Grant, for that competition, and hopefully if she gets to the Olympics it will be in Rio, where she nails all of her dives, because her score could be phenomenal.
Oh, I mean, that's correct, Ross. She's a very, very capable young athlete, amazing to watch, just so strong. And so far this weekend it's been phenomenal.
Here's another good young diver from Western Australia, Tamara Irvine.
Great front 3.5 there by Tamara. A little bit, we call it cowboy in the tuck, so very wide tuck, but making the dive very easily. Matt Helm is now across there at Waste coaching her, and as you can see, they're doing a fantastic job over there. Great to see how strong the athletes are becoming there, and how much they've improved.
Olivia O'Rourke now from New South Wales. A forward 2.5 somersault with a twist for Olivia. A bit back on the board there, yeah, left herself a bit short then. Yeah,
very hard dive for the younger girls. Sometimes being so light.
Ali Klein now, she's on about 145 points now after her. We've got 2 dives to go for all the divers. It's 5 dives, of course, for the women, 6 for the men. Let's see what Ali Klein can do here. A back 2.5 somersault for Ali.
Wow, that is a great dive from Ali. I was watching her in warm-up this morning as well. She was definitely looking a lot more confident. From Michigan, he coached Michigan College in the States, and now coaching here in Victoria. It's great to see that Ali's doing so well under him.
Now, Kate Rosman from South Australia. You've probably trained a fair bit with Kate, Grant.
Yeah, definitely. She's great to train with. Very good reverse 2.5 tuck there. Very high off the end of the board. Pulled her entry a little bit, so it was a bit over. But no, Kate.
As the sun comes out in the background and probably blackens out the vision a little bit at home, so we do apologise, but it's a bit of each here. It's fantastic lighting in this centre with all the skylights and that, but it does make it a bit of a nightmare for photographers and for the live stream. So we hope you're still getting a good idea at home, and we hope you're enjoying the insights from Grant Nell, of course, a very experienced Australian diver, and well, hopefully off to Rio later this year, giving us some fantastic insights. Georgia Sheehan now. She's got to hold her nerve now, doesn't she, Grant?
Yeah, no, she does. She's doing her back 2.5 pike now. Generally, she's got a very good takeoff on this, but sometimes she bends her knees on the entry. We'll just see now how she goes. Wow, that was a fantastic back 2.5 pike by Georgia. Really holding her body line through the water very nicely. And
you're not that familiar with diving, of course, it's not just the scores on the board. There is what they call the DD, the difficulty, and the more difficult you get, because well, Grant, just explain how it happens.
So the higher degree of difficulty means basically the harder the dive. So if you score higher on, say, a front 2.5 somersaults in the tuck position, it might not be as much as a reasonable dive with in the pike position. So the more DD you have, technically, the higher your score can be. Jaya with a fantastic back 2.5 pike there. A little bit low, not as high as she probably would have wanted.
I'll explain after Annabelle's dive here. This is her second last dive. She's doing a forward 3.5 somersault. So this has actually got quite a higher degree of difficulty. She managed to get that together. At one stage I thought, oh no, she's mistimed this.
Yeah, no, she was, she dropped her arms and didn't do a second arm swing. But in saying that though, she still made the dive very well. So again, a high degree of difficulty, only 5s, but she's still got a reasonable score there. So yes, she'll be a little bit disappointed that she had to sort of break her form, but she did a great job.
So you multiply the score you get by the degree of difficulty, isn't it? That's right, isn't it?
Correct. So we have 7 judges here in diving. What they'll do is the judges will mark the dive out of 10. Then they'll take the top 2 scores and the bottom 2 scores off. So there'll be 3 scores left. Those 3 scores will be added up, and that'll be times by the degree of difficulty of the dive.
Right, Esther Chin now, her second last dive. Not an overly difficult dive, although it always looks a lot harder when you see it. It's still a 3. Reverse 2.5 somersault for Esther.
Yeah, Esther's looking pretty good after her unfortunate second dive. A fantastic reverse 2.5 pike. I mean, as you can see, Ross, experience is everything here, and you can see that she's been around a while with such a great dive.
I fear though, Grant, it could be a case of what could have been for Esther. It's going to be very, very hard. I mean, look, selectors will still have to make the tough decision, but it's going to be very, very hard for the selectors to make that decision. And Maddie, well, she's just been consistent. This is a great performance by her, and 4 good dives so far, 4 solid dives, which is what you want from Maddie. 8s across the board. I mean, she's a good diver, Jaya. I bet you though, if you had said to her this morning that 1 round to go, you'll be sitting second on the leaderboard, she would have told us we were kidding though. But she's been, while all the other divers have struggled for consistency, she's been consistent today.
Yeah, definitely. And you know, as I was sort of saying before, it's all about on the day. Rachel there, you know, having a not a great day 2 days ago, but been a lot more. Great competition from her, and good to see that we've got a bit of talent coming up in Australia.
Tamara Irvine now from Western Australia, her final dive, forward 2.5 with a twist.
Tamara's a very strong girl, coming from WA. They've been working really well there with Matt, and as you can see, yes, she's still got a way to come, but it's great to see she's doing these big dives, and a great result for her, so well done.
Olivia O'Rourke now from New South Wales. Inward 2.5, so finishing with probably one of the more simpler dives, but just important for her, young girl, to finish off strongly here in this big competition.
Yeah, definitely. She's doing very well. Her coach, Joel, and Chava will be very happy with how she's doing. She's been working really hard at N-Swiss, and it's great to see.
Inward 2.5 somersault for Ali, her last dive. Ali from here in Victoria.
Yeah, that was a solid dive from Ali. Nice and close to the board. Good pike out. Pretty much all around. So good job, Ali, and yeah, keep up the good work there. Kate here is doing a back 2.5 somersaults in tuck position. Kate trains in South Australia with under Christian Brooker. A great little athlete coming up, and let's see how she goes on her last dive.
Yeah, good dive.
Yeah, it was a great dive. A little bit over on the end, but she'll be happy with that.
5.5, 5.5, 6.5, 5.5.
Army training, but it's
What training?
Army training.
Really?
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
harsh.
Yeah, he's doing an officer's course at the moment, so
Oh,
no, he's
goodness.
doing well over there.
I don't think I'd like to be trained. He'd be good. He'd be fearful when he's coached. Then, if you got an officer from the and if you're listening from the army, I've got utmost respect for you. But an officer coaching me in diving, I'd be wanting to make sure I nail all my dives, I think.
Yeah, no, Christian's got a great heart, and he's actually a phenomenal coach technically, and just a great person all round. He really tries to coach the athlete as a whole. So, no, as you can see, Kate did a good job.
All right, Georgia Sheehan now. Currently, I think 5th on the leaderboard. I think she was 5th, yes. So let's see how she can finish off here. Let's have a big strong dive to finish for Georgia, just to keep her confidence up. She is very much one of the future stars, or one of the divers that Diving Australia are pinning their hopes on. Good finish there, Grant.
Yeah, fantastic. Really.
6.5, 6, 6.5, 6.5, 6, 6.5, 7. Jaya Matthews, 305B.
Now here we are, Jaya Matthews currently 2nd on the leaderboard. Of course, it's the Australian Open as well, Grant. We're not just talking about Rio Qualification. We're competing here for Australian Open titles and medals, and of course you were the men's springboard Australian Open title holder yesterday. You won the championship, so Jaya is in the mix here for a medal at the Australian Open, which would be fantastic for her.
She did a phenomenal job on that. I don't know if you could really see it. She could handle that under pressure.
Well, that might have been good enough to secure her a medal. It's just a question of what colour for Jaya Matthews, which would be a fantastic... Now here's Annabelle. She needs a big one to finish.
Annabelle doing a front 2.5 with 1 twist, and that is a fantastic
What a dive!
from her.
What a dive to finish.
Annabelle, you've been so consistent this week. It's been great. 277. That is fantastic for her. She'll be very happy with that.
Wow, just that one dive that she did that didn't quite come off for her, which she'll be cursing. But the question is, has she done enough now? It's going to be a tough one for selectors. They've got lots of things to take into account. Bridget Lord Henry now, she's been really well as well, Grant.
Yeah, definitely came back from injury early this year. It's great to see her out here again, working with VIS. She's doing an amazing job. A great reverse 1.5 with 2.5 twists there, finishing on 265 points. That's great. She did make national team score, D score, last 2 days ago, so she'll be very happy with that.
Right, Esther Chin finishing with, well, reasonably difficult dive, Grant. She needs big scores though, doesn't she?
Yeah, she does. Let's see how she goes in this. It's a forward 2.5 somersault in the pike position with 1 twist. Great hurdle on the end of the board, and absolutely put that away. That was a great dive. You'll see now Esther just did her... She's only one of a few girls in the world that actually do it, so this is where she really shows her true colours.
Yeah, this is a 3.4 degree of difficulty, and there are not many dives in that category, are there, Grant?
No, that's for sure. Definitely not in the women's, and it's really great to see how well she's doing. Bit of a bad takeoff, but she still absolutely puts it away. That just shows how strong she is and how much talent and ability she has, and that is a fantastic job from Madison.
Wow, 70.
Really going to come down to, I guess, the selectors now, but overall a fantastic comp. Madison diving so consistently, well ahead of the pack. Jaya Matthews stepping up under pressure, and Annabelle Smith just staying consistent like she has all weekend. it's been a great competition.
Yeah, it's been a nerve-wracking competition, and I really, as I said to you before, Grant, I would not like to be a selector, but I think the one thing we can be pretty certain about right now, without wanting to preempt our selectors, Madison Keeney is Rio bound.
I mean, I'd like to think so. I can't really say if she is or isn't because I'm obviously not a selector, but I mean, with that consistency and the way she dove today, she dove amazing, and it's great to see how strong Australian diving is becoming, and it's been a really great competition. So all you guys out there, thanks for listening and watching with us. It's been great. Thanks for having me, Ross.
It's been an absolute pleasure. We're going to take a short break and just to reset the cameras and everything, and then we'll be back to live stream. They're just introducing the platform finalists for the men, so we'll be back with a live stream from the men's very, very soon.